Hi everybody, I am here to share my story about how I was on Suboxone and I quit cold turkey and did not have one withdrawal symptom. Now you're looking up at one of the trees in my backyard. I know it's not such a stimulating view, but it'll have to do. Um, let me get started. I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I was on Suboxone prescribed by a doctor. For those of you who don't know what Suboxone is, it is a drug that is prescribed by a doctor. It is highly monitored. It is, you don't get a high from it. It's more like a stabilizer, but it is highly addictive. I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but the withdrawals from it are much, much longer than any withdrawal that I've heard about because of the way they attach to your neurotransmitters in your brain. So not only are the withdrawals super long, they're super hard, they're your muscles. I mean, it's just bad. Regardless, I knew that I needed to come off of it because I didn't want to be held captive by anything in my life. Now, this is just my heart and what was put on my heart. But I was reliant on taking something every day, and then every other day as I weaned down, I just didn't like the fact that I had to take it, or I was just relying on it, or I would go through withdrawals. Then something happened to me, and that's a totally different story, but it led me to know that I had to and that it was time to get rid of this in my life. I was also drinking at the time, and I had had enough, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to do it without Jesus. Bear with me, hang in there. I know a lot of people that will kind of make you scoff or turn the other way, but just bear with me. Let me cut to the chase. I decided finally to do it after saying over and over again, okay, today's the day. We've all done it. Most of us have done it. I mean, like with a diet. Okay, I'm going to start today. Well, I did that a lot. Finally, the day was the day. I had quit drinking 2 days prior. I quit my Suboxone, woke up the next morning. Now, most of us who know about Suboxone, it takes 3 to 4 days, sometimes 5 days, depending on the amount you're on, for you to feel the withdrawal. So I obviously wasn't feeling anything quite yet. But it was the second day, but I was terrified, needless to say. I was scared because I knew what I was facing. I knew how long the withdrawals were, what I was looking at as far as how long it would take to withdraw. And I knew the sleepless nights, the cramping, the pain, the anxiety. I knew what I was facing, except I knew it was going to be much longer than anything I'd been through before. And it terrified me. But I kept praying, God, if you could die on the cross for my sins, then I can do this. I can do this because I love you, and I know I have to do this. And I was sending emails to different churches within my state that I had never even been to or heard of, and churches throughout the United States that I never even heard of, but just getting on their prayer list. So I know I had hundreds of people praying for me. And then I started asking my 12-year-old too, because even though I know the Lord hears our prayers, how can he resist one of his innocent little children? So I did that. So later on, I'm sitting out in my living room and I'm praying, and it's like I think I hear. And at the time I thought I heard. Well, first of all, I was saying, you got to take it away. I'm scared. You can take this away, but I don't deserve to have it taken away. But you've got to help me through it because I won't make it. And at this time, I still had my Suboxone up in the cabinet, and I thought, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, worst comes to worst, gets bad, I'll just take a tiny little piece and take the edge off, knowing in my heart that would be a huge setback for me. Well, something came over me and I decided I've got to throw them away. I've got to power through this and I've got to throw them away. So I stood up off the couch. And then I sat back down and then something came over me and I just bolted towards them to the cabinet and got them, and I went outside, and lo and behold, it was garbage morning, and I'd already put the cans out, so I put them in the cans and walked off, went back inside, and no sooner had I reached inside than I hear that beeping coming down the street, and the garbage men came, dumped them, and took them away. So I knew that was it. I knew there was no going back then. And I had just been to the doctor, so even if it got really bad, they're really strict. He's not going to prescribe me anymore, no matter what kind of story I came up with. So I'm sitting there and praying. I'm crying, half out of fear, half out of guilt. And I hear that like a small voice, which first I think is in my head. Do you want me to take this away? And I would say, back, yes, of course I do. I want you to take it away, but I don't deserve it. And that went on for a little bit. But then I decided, okay, I'm going to go in the bathroom. I'm going to clean up. Well, I'm sitting in the bathroom and I've got my knees kind of propped up, like an upside down V. And I've got my forearms and my head rested on top of my knees. And I'm just praying and I'm crying. And, God, you can take this away, I say again, but I don't deserve it. And I hear that still small voice, almost like it was audible. And it very well could have been. With God, nothing is impossible. But I heard, do you want me to take it away? And I said again, of course I do. I said, no, this time I said, of course I do. I just don't deserve it. And then again, another voice. Same voice, just another statement. Do you want me to take it away? I said, of course I want you to take it away. Then the third thing that was said was, then I take it away. Now, I had my head rested down as this little conversation is going back and forth, but I popped up. I sat straight up. My back became like a piece of wood. I sat up so straight. And I sat there for a minute stunned, and I'm like, did that just happen? Is this my imagination? What is going on? And then I heard believe. And in the next 2 to 3 minutes, I must have heard the word believe over and over again. I don't know how many times. But I walked out of the bathroom, and my two little guys, they're watching TV, so they're not really paying attention to what's going on. My older one might have said, Mom, you all right? Yeah, I'm all right. Meanwhile, I'm freaking out on the inside. But I start pacing, and I keep hearing believe. Then all of a sudden, it hit me. Something hit me. I had chills. I was crying. I was laughing. It was very strange. I ran out into the living room, and I just started jumping up and down and laughing and crying and saying thank you. And I hit my knees, and I was clapping my hands. My son ran out there. He said, I thought someone was hitting you. I just kept hearing like somebody slapping somebody, but it was me clapping my hands. So long story short, 3 days go by, no withdrawals. 4, not one withdrawal. 5, 6, never had one withdrawal. The first couple nights before I decided to stop the Suboxone, I had a couple nights of slight withdrawals from not drinking alcohol those days, because it would have gotten worse. But after that, nothing. I had no withdrawals, nothing. I slept like a baby, no sweats, no nothing. I was tired. I took a nap a couple times during the day when my littlest guy went to take a nap. But that was it. And I definitely should have had a significant amount of withdrawals considering the amount I was on and how long I was on it. So that's my story. God is good. Will it happen for everybody that way? I don't know. That's your own personal story to have when you reach out to the Lord. But I know this, Jesus loves us very much. He doesn't want us to suffer. No matter what terrible things we've done, and believe me, I've probably broken almost all the 10 Commandments, if not all of them. I'd have to go through and look real quick, but I'm pretty sure. I better not say that. That sounds kind of wrong. But I'm pretty sure I've broken almost all the 10 Commandments. I think almost all of us have broken almost all of them. But sometimes we put God in a box and we think we're too dirty or disgusting or we've done too many things wrong. And He doesn't look at us that way, the same way we don't look at the people that we love most in our lives. If you have a child, you'll forgive them no matter what they do. They could grow up and become a murderer, but that is an unfailing love. It doesn't mean you agree with what they've done. It doesn't mean it's heartbreaking and you're angry at them, but you can't turn off the love you have for somebody that you love unconditionally, like a child, a parent, or whoever that might be. So God was opening His arms and saying, I love you. I don't care what you've done. So in the Bible, the story about the wayward son, well, I was the wayward daughter. And He opened His arms, welcomed me back in, and even healed me and made me not go through those horrible withdrawals like I deserved to go through them. I had done it to myself. He didn't do it to me. I did it to myself. I got myself there. So God bless everybody. Reach out to Jesus. He'll help you through anything. You just have to ask and believe. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.